Tradies facing contractors going under. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because there's an article here written by Duncan Murray from news.com.au about advice for tradies as building firms going bust. Now, we've had ProBuild, we've had ConDev, and we've had a multitude of others before that. We've got issues right now in the construction industry where material costs are skyrocketing, there are labor issues, there are lots of challenges for builders, particularly if they've got a fixed price contract. Now, ConDev, they've got money in the bank. They've got millions of dollars sitting there, apparently, so they can pay their staff costs. They didn't run it into the ground. They projected forward from the current situation. So you've got to have props to them. This is really sad. A company that sensible is going under. It's a shame. But let's have a look at this about advice for tradies, guys. I mean, what can you do? Here's the thing. When you're working on a construction job as a subcontractor, you're under a builder, what you do is you do work and you invoice them every month, a progress claim for a portion of the work you've done. And that should account for the amount of materials you've purchased and installed on site and the labor that's used. Maybe a little bit extra for stuff that's done off site, but that gets a bit complicated. Generally, you're paid up to the work that you've done, but that's usually 45 to maybe 90 days delayed. So you're running a month and a half to maybe even 3 months ahead of when you're getting paid on these type of jobs. And you can put whatever claims you want into the builders. You're paid on the builder's terms. The whole, paid when paid, that's technically illegal. Some people don't realize that's illegal. It still happens. Okay, it's a different world, everyone. So, yeah, you got to understand. And here's the thing. If you say no and stick to your guns, fantastic. But there'll be other people that might just, jump in and take the job, take the client away. Particularly in a relationship like this where, you're working for a big builder, you can easily be cast aside. So let's have a look at this. Subcontractors and suppliers are being urged to look out for early warning signs amid a spate of construction company collapses. So what are the early warning signs? Well, one thing as architects, we're trained to administer contracts between the person procuring the building and the contractor. We're meant to be impartial professional between the two. And the thing is, if you could hear a rumor that a builder's going under, you telling your client that and then holding on their money could be enough to tip them over. So it's really a messy situation. Subcontractors and suppliers are being told to prepare for further shocks following the collapse of industry giants ProBuild and ConDev. As ConDev co-founder Tracy Marius tearfully bid her business farewell this week, she warned other companies would soon follow. "I don't think potentially, I think for sure," she said. Experts have described a perfect storm of rising material costs, COVID-19 delays, and disruptions to supply and labor markets putting pressure on the industry. However, they say there are early warning signs to look out for that could help signal which company will be next. Developers taking over some of ConDev's projects have indicated they will honor existing contracts, which is good news for some, but will not always be the case. When such a collapse occurs, subcontractors and suppliers are at high risk of being left out of pocket. Head of product and rating service and global rating firm Equifax, Brad Walters, said, "Being at the coalface of the construction industry meant subcontractors were at risk from issues at every link in the supply chain. It's a tough season, and unfortunately subcontractors, which represent one of the unsecured creditors when there is a collapse, are left unfortunately highly exposed," he said. Yeah, this is the risk of the game, everyone. The data shows that more than 9 out of 10 unsecured creditors get nothing back. 9 out of 10. Nothing is shit. Because the liquidators get their slice. Subbies can protect themselves in the lead up to the collapse by recognizing the early warning signs, Mr. Walters said. Signs a business could be in trouble and heading for insolvency include the departure of key managerial figures, delayed payments, project delays, key personnel with a history of adverse outcomes. Yes. Here's one of the sticky situations. You could be in a dispute about payment, but you could still be contractually obliged to continue working. regardless of that dispute. It can get really messy in these type of situations, guys. It really is. And then when you get the lawyers involved, all the goodwill gets destroyed. Because you need to work together to achieve this. A building is a unique, complex work, and there's a lot of challenges to it. It's not like something off a factory assembly line. There are also a number of harder-to-spot issues, such as trading losses, poor management or government practices, and thinly capitalized business structures. Founder of Representative Group Subbies United, John Goddard, said in the current environment, subcontractors were playing Russian roulette. In the building industry, you can be working for the biggest one that's been around for 20 years, like Condev, and within days they're gone, he said. Yeah, I mean, that's the shit part of it, guys. You know? You've just got to be so observant. Mr. Goddard said to read contracts carefully, with legal advice if necessary, and be willing to negotiate terms. See, this is the thing. You can negotiate terms. But what do they say? No. And you need that job to keep your boys going, keep the business running. I wonder how many people in this boom that we've had now aren't actually making any extra money. That's the sneaking suspicion I have. You've got a lot of people that won't be making any extra money. I remember I was talking to an architect when I was a student. He had a business. He'd gone from 10 people to 30 people. In that period, he hadn't made any extra money. It's just more of a hassle. So read your contracts, understand them, get rid of clauses you don't like, and if they still won't sign it, don't go with them. It's not worth the hassle, he said. Yeah, I mean, that's easy to say sometimes. You need to be in a position to have enough money to be able to turn away people. This is the thing. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where you're desperate and have to accept a contract or conditions you don't like. I've been in that situation. There was one job that still pisses me off, where we'd help a builder win a tender. We'd put in our price, everything. We'd done a whole design for them, for the concept. Often you do that stuff as BD, biz dev, to help them win the job. If they go in with your fee. They came back, we're sitting down to do the construction stage, they'd cut 25% off my fee without telling me. So I had a few options. I could say, put up with it. I could try and fight them. I could take them to court over my copyright. I had to take it. I needed the money. I needed that to keep the boys employed, to keep it moving. But damn, I wasn't happy with that. I tell you. It's kind of why, part of the reason I've scaled back. I don't have a team anymore. If I need extra help, I get contractors. I don't have an office. I've moved back home. So I've cut all these costs so I don't need to put up with this shit anymore. But that's the challenge you have in this game. So I should check that builder out. I wonder if they're still going. However, even under contract, that's not going to save you if the builder's got no money, he added. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I've had signed contracts. People owed me, I think, 15 grand. You get a cause order one. You still got to chase the money. It's still. Mr. Walters suggested subcontractors tap into market insights and rating schemes to gauge companies as well as their key trading partners for any risk. There are a lot of very clear early warning signs that are there, Mr. Walters said. Subcontractors probably are forced to do what they do best, so should ensure they are empowering themselves with the insight from the market. Another thing to consider is when you work, who you're working for. You know, some of these builders will set up sub-companies just for developments. You're working for them, and there's nothing. Oh, well, that's more so to do with people buying them. It's all a mess. The whole thing is a bloody dodgy mess when you just want to get on with your job. A voluntary rating tool set to launch at the end of the month, developed by Equifax and backing by the New South Wales government, aims to greatly improve transparency and restore confidence in the industry. The independent construction industry rating tool was primarily born off the back of issues with the New South Wales high-rise apartment sector, but also provides an indication for subcontractors of where companies may be headed. Let's see how that works out, guys. I'm skeptical about all this stuff, you know. Ratings will paint a clearer picture of the developer's trustworthiness and the predictability of whether they are likely to construct a compliant and safe building and have the capacity to fix issues if they do arise in the future. This has got more to do with the tradies than it has to do with actually the developer. Sure, the developer can push the tradies to cut corners, but they shouldn't be doing it. Companies are encouraged to come forward and be rated and to share that information publicly on their website. Mr. Anderson said those with a strong track record will reap the benefits. Data points used within iCrit showed that former construction giant ProBuild was exhibiting higher risk attributes before it fell into administration last month. The company's rating deteriorated from 2.5 stars in October down to 2 stars by December. It was only 1 star in November last year. Now, here's the problem with this. This is going to exacerbate the decline in companies that could just be having a rough patch or an issue. I mean, if you're administering a contract and suddenly the builder goes from 2.5 stars to 2 stars to 1 star, is that going to influence your decision-making process? Mr. Walter said there is interest in other states, as well as New Zealand, to develop a similar rating tool. Increasingly, what you will see is growing divide between the rated, trusted cohort and those who continue to operate in the shadows. What do you reckon, guys? I still think the solution needs to be, you need to bring Clerk of Works or Clerk of Works back on site. That needs to be a marketing tool. There needs to be thorough record keeping, and you need to have a certify system so they can't be influenced. One representing the builder, because usually it's D&C, one representing the future body corporate owners, and one representing the neighbors, and as a stalemate decider. What do you think? Do you think this is some good advice for tradies? I mean, there's only so much you can do, everyone. This is, you're checking up this person, this business. It can all be bullshit too. If they don't have any money, they don't have any money, and you're screwed. It's just sad, guys. What do you reckon? As always, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. If you're a fan and enjoy the content, you can help us out by signing up to YouTube or Patreon, using our affiliate links, or signing up to SelfWealth or Stake. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now. Bloody hell. There you go, guys.